Sir Ariel. I am I am Ariel Bacani from San Carlos City, Pangasinan. I'll be talking about my study, ethical concerns on the implementation of the Solo Parent Act, Republic Act number 8973 in the Philippines. My background is in political science. My first master is in public administration. In the first presenter, a while back, you will talk about the debate society here. I am not a debater, but I am a coach of the debate team in my school. And actually, I have here my whip. There she is. My partner, my girlfriend, and my whip is here. Right there. So, I will begin my study, my presentation to you guys with a video presentation. So, Solo Parent Act. This is something to do with single parent sustaining the family. And to understand it further, I have here my video presentation.
Daddy is the sweetest daddy in the world. Daddy is the most handsome. The smartest. The most clever. The kindest. He is my Superman. Daddy wants me to do well at school. Daddy is just great, but he lies. He lies about having a job. He lies about having money. He lies that he's not tired. He lies that he's not hungry. He lies that we have everything. He lies about his happiness. He lies because of me.
No. Also, that is a short video presentation on. I watched it in the YouTube, and that may make me decide to have a study on being a solo parent. Actually, we have a law It's the Republic Act 8972. It is a solo parent act, but it seems to be neglected. It seems to be not known by people in the society that we have this law. It is giving opportunities to solo parent, yet it is not known. As I read the law, there are a lot of things, a lot of ethical concern that I learned from examining all of the literatures regarding the law. So let me start with the background of the study. So having a family is one of the most important and shared values in human life. A family is normally composed of a father, the mother, and a child or the children. For today, some people not engaged to have a family in their late age because they decided to work earlier to earn in order to save some money for the future. Looking after children is expensive, but this is not always the case. Some people start a family in their young age, and some have a child before starting a family. This might be for various reasons, and sometimes it is just an accident. Raising a family now with both the husband and the wife having a decent job, this is still difficult. So it is tougher to consider raising a family with one parent alone. It's even more difficult for single parents struggling to make ends meet. They don't need more obstacles, they need more opportunities according to Rachel's. So being a single parent is difficult nowadays. So I decided to conduct this study. Globally, 1/4 or to 1/3 of the families are headed by single mothers. I presented to you a video wherein the single parent is the father. But globally, most of the time, it is single mothers. So if the father is struggling, how about the mother? In developed countries in particular are experiencing an increase in single-parent families as divorce becomes more common. In the United States, as the highest percentage of single-parent families, 34% in 1998, among developed countries followed by Canada. Solo parents are those who are left alone with responsibility in rearing their children regardless of marital status, and based on the National Statistics Office data, there are about 14 million solo parents in the Philippines. It's equivalent to 14%, or almost 100 million here in the Philippines. The legal basis of the study is in the 1987 Philippine Constitution, where it states that the state shall adopt and integrate a comprehensive approach to health and other social services available to all people at affordable cost. There shall be priority for the needs of the unprivileged, sick, elderly, disabled women, and children. Together with the state shall provide social justice in all phases of national development. So, the purpose of this study is to identify the difficult issues concerning the implementation of the Solo Parent Act in the Philippines, and to know the awareness of the employees of the Henry Lagros University Foundation, which is the university I am working now, as mentioned by Ma'am Angelica Bailon on the opening. I am the chairman of the Social Sciences Department in my university. And the problem is, we have solo parents in the school, yet later on, based on the result, I will tell you more. These issues are vital in the implementation of the program, since its main concern is the upkeep of the children, of the family, and of the community. The objective of the study is to identify the elements, terms, programs of the Solo Parent Act in the Philippines, qualified member beneficiaries, their benefits, extent of implementation of the program. I've conducted a survey, an interview, to know if the employees in my university know about or they're aware of the Solo Parent Act. Now, the question is, who are solo parents? How can you be classified as a solo parent? You are a solo parent if, one, you are a single dependent, a woman who gives birth as a result of rape. husband, single independent, is considered to be a sole parent. A married with divorce, if your spouse is dead, if your spouse is in prison for at least 1 year, in case of separation de facto. Kasi de facto, you separate homes, but you're still married for 1 year. And lastly, if you were abandoned. So abandoned, you walk away from your family, and they don't know where you are now. Then the spouse left, taking care of the children, are considered sole parent. And lastly, you are a solo parent if even you don't have a child, you can give birth to a child, but you are taking care of someone, somebody. You are providing care, sustaining this child, even though he or she is not your relative, then you are considered a solo parent. That's stated in the Republic Act 8972. Who are considered children? Children refers to those living with and dependent upon solo parent for support who are unmarried, unemployed, and not more than 18 years of age, even over 18, but are incapable of self-support because of mental and or physical defect and disability. So we have here the parental responsibility enumerated as provided by the Family Code of the Philippines, which includes all the necessary things that a parent should give to his or her child. That includes basically education. Now, here are some criteria for support and the requirements to become a solo parent. First, if you are a qualified solo parent, you will go to the nearest city or municipality social welfare and development. You'll bring the following: barangay certification that you are a solo parent, birth certificates of your child, and the income tax return stating that you are earning below the poverty line, meaning you are earning less. If you say poverty line, it is defined as you cannot make income to sustain your daily living. Maybe you are only eating once a day or twice a day, but not twice a day. You are within the poverty line. And then after furnishing all, the social worker is still set, and there will be 30 days, and you'll be given the ID. The ID is only effective for 1 year, and it is subject for renewal. There is a need for renewal for them to identify if, for example, your child becomes 19, or your child, or you married, so your benefit as a solo parent will be removed. Support will be coming from DOH, CHED, ESDA for education, housing, low-cost housing, and there is what we call parental leave for solo parents. This includes flexible work schedule and additional 7 days leave on top of the leave provided by your institution. So class 7. Other benefits, we have tax incentives for solo parent members on their child or children. 8,000 deductible to your tax. So aside from the 25,000 pesos per dependent, that is additional 8,000 tax exemption for a solo parent, provided, however, that the child is disabled. Flexible work schedule, no discrimination, parental leave, as I mentioned. In the parental leave, you must be at least working 1 year before you can avail it. 1 year in institution before you can avail additional 7 days leave. This includes, for example, affairs in the school, birthday of your child. You have to provide birthday celebration to your child. It is automatically leave with pay. School will pay even though you are not going to work. Flexible work schedule, meaning if your work is 8 to 5, since you're a solo parent, you may go to school 9, but you have to finish 8 hours work. So you may go home at 6. Or since you're going to drive back your child, you may work until Saturday to finish the 40 hours work in 1 week. Just an example. Okay, as I conducted the research, the survey with the employees, okay, with a number of 75 respondents, 38% are single, 22% are single with dependent, 12% head of the family, and 28% married. The head of the family is the one I'm talking about. If you are taking care of someone, a child who is not your child, but you are providing the support to the child. You are not the mother, you are not the father, you are considered to be the head of the family. If your parents are dead, both your mother and your father, and you're the one providing care of your sisters and your brothers, you are considered a solo parent as the head of the family. But that is possible only if your parents, both of them, are dead. Now, on the qualifications of being a solo parent, it is notable that the number 2 and number 6 are only known by the respondents. Number 2, parent left solo or alone with responsibility of parenthood due to death of the spouse. And number 6, parent left solo or alone with the responsibility of parenthood due to declaration of nullity or annulment of marriage. Most of the respondents are not aware that there are other 8 requirements for you to become a solo parent. Okay? Awareness of and attitudes toward solo parents. I have prepared some questions for them to be answered. In question number 3, are you aware of solo parents around you? And then respondents, 1/4 were aware of solo parents, and then the rest are not aware that there are solo parents around them. Followed by next question, do you think solo parents know that they are entitled to receive social support from the government? Majority, 58% said no. What does this mean? Because they don't know that there is this what we call the Solo Parent Act in the Philippines. So they don't know that there is such thing as the Solo Parent Act. Next question is that did any of your student or colleagues inform you that they face challenges because they are solo parents? Nearly 3/4, 72% didn't get any because they are not talking about it. No one talks about being a solo parent. These solo parents are not talking to their colleagues. Oh, I am a solo parent, so I'm facing like this. For some reasons, they're just afraid of discrimination. Maybe they tell this secretly on these people that they trust, but not to everyone. Next question, number 6. Did you know that 14 million Filipino citizens are solo parents? 46% think that it is not a social problem. Still, 54% said, majority, that being a solo parent is a social problem. Question number 7. Should there be an assistance made to staff or students who are solo parents? Only 16% agree, and 84% disagree that there must be a support to be given. Why? It is a typical Filipino character, Filipino culture. It's a stigma actually. That in our school, there are only 8 qualified solo parents. These are those wives that their husbands were dead with a little number most are not qualified. Of course, to them, it will be unfair that these people will be receiving something and we are not. So, private narrative. And I also prepared questions, essay questions for them. Out of the 75, only 9 answered the essay for, because they're afraid of losing their jobs. Our HR manager is actually a solo parent as well. However, she refused to answer the question. For some reason, she is the HR manager. She should be the one knew about the solo parent. She is qualified to be a solo parent, yet she's not in favor of the solo parent. So, what should be the response of the university? The respondent number 1 is implement the law. The university must accept, blah, blah, blah. Although some returned their survey questionnaire, some also selected questions to be answered. They only answered those for them is safe to answer. Question number 9, how can you say that solo parent is a social problem? Someone said it's not a social problem. Respondent number 6, being a solo parent is not a social problem, according to respondent number 6. 7, I don't think a solo parent is a social problem. Question number 10, what do you think are some problems solo parents face? Most of them actually is financial problem. Most of them responded most financial problem. And then number 10, what can we do as university to reduce challenges? If you can see, there are more no answer than those who answered it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 4 gave the answer. Number 1, respondent number 1 said, give financial assistance and opportunities, educate them. But 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8 did not give answers. That's how crucial is politics even in the private sector. If you don't want to lose your job, then you should not speak. And maybe this is my last chance, this is my last day in my job. Maybe if I return to my university for tomorrow, I have no more office. But this is a challenge. This is a challenge for me. The output actually has something to do with it. Discussions, ethical concerns with the study. The main concern of this thesis is to determine the ethical concerns in Republic Act 8972, implementation in the Philippines. For each solo parent, in order to avail the benefits of the program, must personally apply to the DSWD. In this case, I believe that it is more appropriate that the DSWD shall make a program where they will assess, inform, and evaluate every qualified solo parent member of its community. In this case, every solo parent in the Philippines shall enjoy every benefit without burden, especially those from remote and rural areas of the country. This program will also change the renewal of the ID for each member every year, which I believe is another burden for the solo parents. In most cases, it is required that the solo parent must be within the poverty line set by NEDA in order to avail the benefits. As defined earlier, people in the poverty line are those who cannot provide for daily living. In this case, the provision generally deprives the solo parent members of many basic activities that a family with reasonable economic conditions will enjoy. As mentioned in the background of the study, it is difficult for a single parent to provide for the needs of the family, even having a decent job. The children are the victims of the policy. This program should be given all sole parent members. Republic Act 8972, according to Attorney Kapunan, has no tools to sanction institutions for failure in the implementation. Aside from the concern mentioned, this is the most critical when even everything required has been acquired, yet implementation within the institution level is not implemented. By this, it is expressly stated in the provisions of the law covering solo parents to institutions, especially in the private sector, is not a priority. So that is the problem. There is a law, but there is no provision stating that if you are an institution and you don't implement it, you will be sanctioned. That is the problem. So maybe that is the reason of my university why they are not providing help to the solo parents and to other private institutions because they are not sanctioned. It is always in the grace of the owner of the president if they will provide the support to the solo parents. Lastly, for the age requirement of the child or the children to be covered by the education sector, the child age limit is 18 years old, but due to the implementation of K-12 program, where students in most cases shall graduate to senior high school at the age of 18, educational support from child seems to be overlooked. So I guess there should be no age limit when it comes to the educational support for the solo parent. For my conclusions and recommendations, after careful analysis and study, the following conclusions were drawn. Number one, most of the respondents are single and are not qualified solo parent act program. The employee respondents are reluctant in answering the questionnaires with the fear of losing their job into whatever the result. The programs of the solo parent, number three, act to benefit the qualified members are limited. Some members cannot avail of all the benefits. And number four, there is no public information and public promotion of the benefits and programs for the Solo Parent Act throughout the country. So after this, my recommendation for further success of this is the following recommendations to various sectors are drawn. Number one, the legislation should be considered, the amendments submitted by Senator Escudero, and Senator Lauren Regarda for the improvement of all benefits to qualified members. They're proposing that aside from the benefits, the qualified solo parent members shall all receive additional 10% discount to all commodities for the family. Milk, diapers, additional 10%. They're proposing that. And they're proposing also the adjustments in the provided provisions in the Republic Act 8972, like the membership, qualified members, they added some qualifications. Number two, the DSWD as the implementing agency shall make rules on reaching out the qualified members all throughout the Philippines and make a year-end update and monitoring. So instead of the solo parent qualified member will go to the DSWD, why not consider like the DSWD is doing to 4-piece members, now 5-piece members, that they're the ones who are going visiting homes to look for the qualified 5-piece members. Why not consider that? Number three, the DOLE shall make a memorandum order to mandate not only the government agencies but also all private institutions of all industry and sector to adopt the policy of the solo parent. And number four, an information dissemination program shall be made in order to incorporate the benefits and programs of the Solo Parent Act, especially at the Jaime Medrosa University Foundation. This will be my task since I started it. So as I go back to my university, as I receive the survey result, I need to inform them. Because if I will be the only one who will talk to the president regarding the Solo Parent Act in the Philippines, my voice cannot be heard. But if we will consider, because most of the solo parents are deans. They're deans. And the other one is the HR manager. So if they would like to, then we could have a plan on how to negotiate with the president regarding their additional benefits as covered by the RA 8972 or the Solo Parent Act of the Philippines. For that, I guess you rest my case. Firing squad, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ariel. So I'd like comments firstly from the thesis examiners and then everybody.
Okay, not the other way around.
Yep, please, yeah. I use the microphone. And you got pen and paper to take lots of notes?
I'm the secretary.
No, you take your own notes. He takes his own notes.
Appreciate the efforts which you have invested on a very sensitive topic. Maybe I would communicate and summarize everything together, and you can just help me to take through some pages once again. Any kind of research that has been done internationally on this topic by other countries, and whether that research, if I'm going to apply it in Philippines, would that give the similar results or it will be different? I'll just communicate the points, you can make notes and then we can summarize it from within. You mentioned about the poverty line. So are you saying the benefits will be given to those single parents who are going to be below the poverty line? And will the benefits be same for those families also which are below the poverty line? The third thing which I would like to talk about here is the last line which you mentioned, that there are deans and the vice presidents also who are solos. Right? The deans or the vice presidents are also solo parents, single parents. Would they really wait for government amendments so that they get some kind of discounts or benefits, because they would be earning a good amount of money? So they would not be looking out for any kind of amendments in the Act. But it will be important for those people who are below the poverty line as a single parent and do not have a job or sufficient money resources. And finally, how relevant that would be for a thesis like this to also talk about how do we join the family? Because we all know the challenges, awareness can be created. But were there any efforts made with these families that they can be kept united? Or your thesis area starts only once they are already separated? So I think these are some of the queries which I have. You can take me through relevant pages, you can refer them, and you can respond to them one by one. Thank you.
First, to answer the first comment on the related articles on international. Since the time is limited, so I have to jump into the more according to Professor Darren for me to finish. I have made some related literature regarding international effects. Well, going to those pages, to answer the previous questions, our salary, even dean in my university, it is a foundation. If we can remember the registration here, or for confidentiality purposes, the registration here, the amount of registration here is higher than the salary a dean receives. So the registration per participant, that amount is higher than the salary of a dean. So how about me? I'm not a dean, so it is more lower than that. It's just half of that is our salary. So even dean, they need to have that. I have the literatures internationally regarding being a solo parent It's only the statistics I've mentioned here on how many solo parents in other countries, like there are 1/3 families. Because the main concern here is not really being a solo parent. My main concern is the ethical concerns in the law itself. The law, there are provisions which are not within the implementation of the programs is not covering all the needs of being a solo parent. So I rather concentrate on the articles as mentioned by lawyers, Attorney Kapunan, and then the PAO chief in my literature, Acosta, stating what are the needs on the Republic Act 1897 to be improved in the implementation of the law, to be improved. And then I base all my results on their articles that they're written. In the poverty line, most of the problem in my study is that most of the benefits can be acquired only if you are below the poverty line. The problem is that although you are above the poverty line, being a solo parent is still a burden. But still you have to become below the poverty line before you can avail of the benefits. So how come if the NEDA defines poverty line as if you cannot provide for a living for one day? Even having a decent job, a single parent, like for example me, I am having a salary of 10,000 pesos minus tax, that is 8,000 pesos monthly. That's my salary in my university. 8,000 pesos monthly. Cannot provide even a tuition fee. I stayed in my university for the single purpose of commitment in education. I am the only one political science instructor in that university. If I leave my university, then there will be no person to teach politics and governance in my university. That's why I will leave my university. And then some other
question.
That was talking about that the poverty line. Parents below the poverty lines are also covered by the law, and also the solo parents are covered.
There is another classifications of those families below poverty line. That is the 5-piece program. Okay. Pinalawak na Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. This family is receiving cash incentives. They're receiving, but not necessarily a solo parent. There is another law on the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino
Are there
program.
similar laws in other countries also like that, which are neighboring Philippines?
I believe in other countries, that, especially in the United States,
Only the Philippines.
there is a law. Because in my appendix there, I also included rights of the children. In the United States, there is a law supporting a solo parent, providing education, even allowance to the solo parent. That's why in some cases it is being abused. If you're a single, you can adopt a child, and then the government will provide allowance for the children, even in Canada. If you're a single, so they abuse it, they just adopt children, adopt them, and then the government will provide you. According to a relative living in Canada, if you adopt children, around 4 children, and you will receive a allowance from the government, you can afford to live without having a job. You can live by the allowances provided with the government in Canada. That's how they provide support to the sole parent in other countries. But in the Philippines, there is no cash incentives. Only benefits coming from the government sectors. But the qualification is that you must be below the poverty line, which means you cannot provide for one day living. Meaning, you should not be a professional. But the problem is, Even though you are a professional, I made myself as my example that I only receive 8,000 pesos a month. If I have a family, that won't sustain the family. Why I'm still living? I don't eat. That's why for our 4 days here in Maa, I eat a lot. So that when I arrive there, at least I have reserve in here. So food. Still, we have dinner and breakfast, I guess, for tomorrow. So I still have 2 more full meals. Maybe that will extend me for 2 months.
Life is going to be good for all of us. We're talking about peace here actually, and we all will be at peace. That's not an issue at all. 2 more questions which I have is, there are sometimes law when,
It's on.
it's on. There are sometimes laws which talk about that if there is a divorce, right? So the husband has to provide some maintenance to the wife or to the family. Are there any kind of laws in Philippines like that, which so that it doesn't require a government intervention to implement such laws?
Okay. One of the requirements in being a solo parent is if it's annulled. Actually, there is no divorce here in the Philippines. There is annulment, but not all the time. Although it is annulled, the other party will provide support. Because the annulment of the marriage is not tantamount to the loss on the support to the child. The husband can always be missing in action. And there is no pertinent law that will punish a husband who is not giving the support to the child unless the mother will go to the court and the court will decree that the husband or the other party should provide. The problem is, what if you cannot pay for the attorney or the lawyer who will ask the court to demand this absent husband to provide support for the child? That is another issue. And that will cost you initially 100,000 pesos for you to open the case.
so it's better to stay together then.
It's better to stay
That's the
together.
message should go to the society.
Yes.
And one last thing, you can go to the page of recommendations. Just one pointer, this I'll just give as a feedback. Probably, according to my thoughts, we say that
No research is conclusive in nature. So probably we always write findings and recommendations. So because that's what your findings would be there. And in terms of recommendations, you have mentioned about the amendments which should be made by the legislation and should be submitted by the senators. Probably these amendments are also, if they are evaluated in this kind of research, and some ideas come from you also that the points which they have not thought of. Probably because of your research, this light comes into this project. So probably that would add more value there. That should be all from my side.
Thank you. Actually, the amendments sent by Senator Escudero and Senator Garda were way back 2012. Yeah, it's 2016. It's been 4 years. So why the government is not responding to it? Maybe because it's not important. So actually, my recommendation is a big challenge to. I'm a political scientist, and I'll make some ways. Maybe I can contact some of the senators, members of the Congress, we have a representative, to push the amendment. And then we have hotline 888 for any government concerns as provided by the President. Maybe I can call that number 888 to show them. Actually, this is a master's thesis of AUSN. This is not just a simple study, and this may have to review, make it a priority field in the legislation.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Ariel Bacani, right? You know, your study is really very interesting. And it is only now that I learned that there is a solo parent law. And indeed, in the Philippines, no, there are many, many laws, but the problem is in the implementation. Now, your study, as I can see it has a policy implication. Are you a member of the National Research Council of the Philippines?
No.
Okay, have you finished your master's, right?
Yes. Public administration.
So I'd like to recommend you to be a member of the National Research Council of the Philippines, particularly in Division 1, because Division 1 is about, there are 12 to 13 divisions in NRCP, and Division 1 is in charge of educational, governmental, and international studies with the policy implication, where I sit as one of the chairman under the international policy studies. So you can submit this for further study. Now, I'd like to know how many respondents. I understand that
75 ma'am.
75, and they are all from your university.
Yes ma'am. Full-time only. Full-time.
Full-time. So how did you select? Only full-time?
Full-time faculty.
Faculty members. And most of them are single and not solo parent, right? And you use an open-ended questionnaire. So, which is very good because you were able to generate information fresh from the respondents. Now, my question is, did you validate? How did you validate, or did you validate the various responses from the responses that you have generated? Did you validate them? And if yes, how?
Actually, it's been handed to them electronically, sending to their email personally. So it's them. And aside from sending it to their emails, I've also talked to them to please answer it honestly. And still, only 9 of them, they answered me, yes, of course, there's no problem. This is, and then, when time comes that I will collect the result, I'm sorry, I'm so busy, I can't answer. Do you need it now? Can you go back next week? A lot of alibi. So,
Yeah, I guess I understand because all researchers really experiencing the how to really get the data, no? So with NRCP, you can validate, no, for further studies, all the data that you have generated, you can come up with a, jot them down, and then probably come up with a Likert scale, where more of the respondents can answer that, and you can probably get their level of awareness by a Likert scale, or their level of agreement or disagreement, something like that, for your future studies. Now, since your study is it has a policy implication, you mentioned that it is your good intention to inform your university.
Yes.
But you also have the various recommendations, which is very good, to submit them to the different agencies. So these are the identified agencies.
Yes ma'am. Identified agencies. Concern.
Okay, so that's very good, no? But right now, you have not informed them yet.
No, not yet ma'am. Because have to defense.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I guess after this, as Ms. Ananya is retiring, witness the last time that the result of this study will give further power for me, since maybe as I go back in my university, if I still have my job, they've said that I'll chair the ethics committee of the university. By that, it will provide me power to make all the deans and all the concerned faculties who did not submit their response to submit their response immediately, or else lagot sila sa ethics chairman.
Who is the ethics chairman? You. Then you have the power.
Yes, after it depends to Professor Ariel if
Especially if you become a member of the NRCP and your
Yes, ma'am.
and your study is funded by NRCP.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
NRC provides a million, 250,000, 500,000, 1 million for studies that has a policy implication.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So I think some of the comments have been made there. Do we have any other comments or suggestions from other people? And Ariel is taking notes of every point because you'll be examined on the notes. I'll have to see the copy with us. So,
thank you, sir, for a good presentation. I wanted just to know, how did you measure the risks of your research? In the sense that I was just glad that you said what was in my mind. It was like, you talk about the United States and Canada, whereby because of laws whereby single parents are supported, this has created another problem in the social, especially to Black and African Americans, whereby they don't want to get married, all they want is to make babies all around so that they can take further. So I'm very concerned in the sense that, don't you think that your research can somehow lead young people of the Philippines to do more? How should I speak? Because if I know that as a single parent, the government is going to support me, don't you think that I'm going to be encouraged to do whatever I can, making babies all around, because the government will support that? That's what I'm saying. How did you measure the risk of that research? Otherwise, if we don't understand it right, young people will become another problem.
Okay, so thank you for that question. Anyway, I didn't see that because in the first place, I see the risk on not on the people who will make more babies actually, because as it concludes, the support coming from the government is not being enjoyed. So if they knew this and there is no support coming from the government, they should not do that. Maybe if they transfer to US or they transfer to Canada, they can always do that. But here, they can't.
any yes, a comment over here, please. Chris, you run around the. Go around this way.
Hello, good afternoon. We are quite familiar with the violation of most institutions. So, most institutions committed non-fictions. I think you are quite familiar with that. An act of omission. So, most institutions committed an act of omissions because of failure of having sanction in so far as the application of that law. Would it be considered or would it be tantamount as not having such law? Because we don't have sanction in so far as the violation of such law. So, absence of it, absence of sanction would be considered as there is no law existing. There's no law special law existing. And in my follow-up question, the second question, would it be enough for us to inform our institution about this law, knowing that they are going to apply that law upon only upon their discretion, because there's no sanction. So would it be enough to inform the institution, or it would be just informing them?
Now, for on your first question, if there's no law punishing it with it is tantamount to the laws that exist in Hakon, actually, the problem is there is no provision on the law stating that an institution not implementing it will be sanctioned, because what is only written in the law shall only be interpreted. So actually, there's no guidelines that you are not going to be sanctioned. No, there is an absence. So that's why the Attorney Kapunan, since the absence of such provision in the law, provides that everyone, any institution who is not implementing it has no sanction. But still the law is existing because government employees in their PDS personal data sheets, it is included. It is one of the checklists that if you are a sole parent. So only if you are in the government sector. Now, if you will inform the private institution, what will happen? In my case, most of the time, the owners or the presidents are not also aware. Maybe only most of the time, the HRs are aware of it. But since no one is claiming for it, then they just ignore. They just ignore. But with the power of the union, the membership of the faculty associations, for example, when they knew it, then they can fight, they can have solicitations to the president, they will talk to the president regarding this case. And if the president with his or her grace, then it could be implemented or it could be given to them as another benefit. But again, if the president will allow that, they will measure, are you in the poverty line? So even though the president will allow, oh, you are not in the poverty line, you're receiving a salary of 12,000 pesos a month, so you're not in the poverty line. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Without speculating, the problem with special laws are the absence of the implementing rules and regulations. Without implementing rules and regulations, special laws are just for information. So that's the problem. It's not about you.
Yeah, that's really is the problem. Because the law itself, the law is just the physical, the implementing rules is the soul. So if there is a problem with the implementing rules, there is a big problem to the law itself. Since there has been an existing IRR, implementing rules and regulations, drafted before, so it cannot be removed unless there will be amendments to the law as provided. Maybe one of the amendments is that to make another IRR. That could be one.
I actually wonder if you have conducted an information dissemination in your institution as part of your dissertation.
During, actually, ma'am, during the interview itself, in the interview itself, when they open, there is such a lot. So while interviewing them, they need to be clarified before they answer. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. After this, yes, it will be part of the output, information dissemination after this. That is part of the output of the study. I have the materials ready to be loaded, to be given again to them. And if I'll be lucky, I can conduct also a small forum like this. To have more power, I can have them support me to ask the president to give support to this solvents. Yes, any more?
Okay, thank you. I will make some concluding comments.
Okay, so thank you for the questions and comments to Ariel. He has given some, you have a list? He's written down all the comments. Okay, so number one, the sample size, 75. In one institution, so we had a little committee meeting here. We think the title of a thesis, if you're going to leave it with the sample of 75 from one institution, needs to include that in the title. The attitudes from the institution one. Another option is to include another sample where people may be more freely open to answer to you, where sure the confidentiality being protected, for example, in another parallel institution, and see about the implementation of law in that institution. You could also extend by doing face-to-face interviews with Shore about anonymity, because if I answer a thing by email, I'm afraid that it's going to be shared by other people. So maybe face-to-face next week, you can, in your revision, you can include that interview results and get more exploration of the open comments. The another comment from our committee is the why. Why is the despite the law being passed, is it still not being implemented? Is this true in other environments as well? And then some of the other work could be a future for PhD work if you really want to pursue this topic. But it is an important social topic. Okay. So a few other things you come and talk to us if you haven't got all the questions pointed down. But basically, on behalf of the exam committee, we say congratulations to you for revisions to make it better, and also then you'll publish the paper and discuss. But it's one of the challenges that you mentioned the scope and limitations, and you extend the scope and limitations a bit. Asking an institution, people may be afraid to say. So this is would happen in any institution. So you need to find a way to get that out about why. And a few case studies could also be interesting. Okay, thank you very much, Ariel. Good.